Hello, my name is Joe. I study at Leeds University and welcome to my video on understanding markets and customers. Now, the company I've chosen to focus on for this video is the worldwide supermarket chain Morrisons. Morrisons was originally founded in Bradford by a man called William Morrison in 1899 and has since gone on to become one of the largest supermarket brands in the world. Now, like any other organisation, an essential part of Morrisons is a large number of stakeholders, and using stakeholder analysis we can take a much closer look at these stakeholders. We can even split them up into three divisions. First of all, we have the internal stakeholders such as the store managers or just the general members of staff. Now, these particular stakeholders have a very high interest in the company due to the fact that the company is simply providing them with a wage and covering their costs of living. In addition to this, we have the connected stakeholders. These are people such as the suppliers and the distributors, and in this case an example would be the farmers which grow fresh fruit and vegetables to supply to Morrisons, which in turn then they supply to their customers. And then finally we have the external stakeholders, which includes the governing bodies and the local communities. Now, Morrisons understands that the interaction between the stakeholders is very important to the existence of the company. So much so that they hold regular meetings between the major stakeholders, which they refer to as corporate services. Now, corporate services are the centre point for stakeholder engagement, and it enables Morrisons to not only identify but to rectify and adapt to any change that may have been made in the micro or the macro environment. Now, a recent example of them reacting to a change would be in the micro environment, when they decide to follow other supermarket chains' footsteps and invest millions of pounds into the self-service checkout in the hope that this will keep their stores modern and fresh for their consumers. Now, it's essential that Morrisons adapt to changes in both the macro and micro environment, as mentioned before, in order to maintain their competitive edge over their competition. And one of the keys to doing this is a strong interaction between the internal and the connected stakeholders in particular. Now, in order to maintain their position as a leading brand in the market, Morrisons must fully understand both the wants and the needs of the customers, which they can do in a number of ways. Now, this is an essential part of the microenvironment model and shows just how much power the consumer has over the changes that Morrisons choose to make. One way in which Morrisons shows evidence of doing this is through their loyalty schemes such as the Mall Card. Now, as we know, Morrisons isn't just a leading supermarket brand, it also owns over 1,000 petrol stations in the UK alone. Now, Morrisons understand that their customers are much more likely to purchase petrol from them as opposed to a competitor if an incentive is introduced. Now, this is why they introduced the Mall Card scheme. Now, this scheme allows customers to gain points from their weekly shop, which can then be exchanged for money off when they fill up, hence overall saving the consumer money. Now, this is a clear example of how a change in the macro environment can cause issues for a large company like Morrisons if they don't adapt. As due to the economic climate, people chose to spend less, but luckily for Morrisons, they introduced the loyalty scheme, which in turn helped please their customers and lessen this effect. This is not the only example, however. Morrisons also show that they understand customers a few years ago. Now, Morrisons realised that their customers were becoming more and more time conscious due to their much busier lifestyle and more hectic jobs. So in order to support the customer, they introduced the pay at the pump scheme, which made filling up their cart much faster and much simpler, hence saving time and making the customers much more pleased. Now, Morrisons don't just guess what the next upcoming trend is, of course. They use extensive research in order to get the best picture of what their consumers actually want, whether or not an idea is a worthwhile endeavour for themselves. For example, if we go back to what I discussed about earlier with the self-service checkouts being introduced, I remember a few years ago, I walked into my local Morrisons and I was asked by a member of staff on my opinion on the self-service checkouts. This shows straight away that before Morrisons even went ahead with the idea, of course they gathered the market research to use as evidence to see if it was viable or not. Now, they don't just use primary research, they like focus groups or surveys, they also use past data, in particular when considering on the location of new stores. The main reason for this is once again to get a relatively good idea of how similar stores are performed in the area to ultimately make a decision on whether or not that specific location is viable. Now, I'm going to conclude this video with my personal opinion on how well I think Morrisons are interacting with its market and its customers. Now, overall, I would say Morrisons is a prime example of a company which is very successful at adapting to changes in both the macro and the micro environment in order to please their customers. And once again, as mentioned earlier, they do this through many ways, such as loyalty schemes, reward schemes, and even making major changes to their stores. Now, another reason why they're willing to do this so easily is, once again, they gather so much information through many different methods of research in order to make sure that all the decisions are correct. And for these reasons, I would therefore conclude that Morrisons is most likely to maintain its status as a supermarket heavyweight for many, many years to come, as its brand is recognisable around the world and it is a symbol that we can all rely on.